Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video we will be looking at AQA AS Psychology 2018 Paper 1 Exemplar Answers for Memory, which you need to know for AQA Alevel Psychology. I hope you enjoy this video and find it helpful. Let's get started. Please note that these answers have been produced with knowledge of the mark scheme but have not been approved by the mark scheme themselves. There are 3 assessment objectives, AOs, in psychology. In this video they are color-coded. AO1 Knowledge, purple. AO2 Application, blue. AO3 Evaluation, red and green. In AS there are 12 mark questions, instead of 16 mark questions. For the purpose of this video and to avoid confusion for a level, the 12 mark questions have been turned into 16 mark questions. Question 1. Describe the phonological loop component of the working memory model. 3 marks. The phonological loop, PL, processes auditory, speech-based, information and preserves the order in which the information arrives. It is divided into phonological store, which holds words that are heard, and the articulatory control process, which allows for the maintenance and rehearsal of acoustic information, e.g. repeating sounds or words in a loop to keep them in the working memory while they are needed. The capacity is thought to be 2 seconds worth of what is said. Confusions often occur with similar sounding words as the coding is acoustic. Question 2. Suggest one way in which the working memory model might be a better explanation of short-term memory than the multistore model. 1 mark. The working memory model was proposed by Baddeley and Hitch, 1974, to account for some of the limitations of the multistore model. They suggested that short-term memory, STM, is an active process used when temporarily storing and manipulating information and consists of multiple stores, not just one unitary store like the MSM suggests. Toby and Sarah both studied AS psychology at the same school. Toby's class was taught in the school lecture theatre while Sarah's class had their lessons in a science classroom. Both students sat their final psychology exam in the school lecture theatre. Question 3. Which student is likely to perform worse in their final psychology exam? Use your knowledge of explanations of forgetting to justify your answer. 4 marks. Sarah is likely to perform worse in her exam because Sarah learnt and recalled the information in a different environment. The cues present when learning the psychology material in the classroom would not have been present at recall in the lecture theatre for Sarah. The absence of the cues meant that Sarah did not have any triggers to aid her recall, and this caused retrieval failure. Question 4. Outline techniques used in the cognitive interview and discuss the effectiveness of these techniques on the accuracy of eyewitness testimony. 8 marks. The cognitive interview technique is a method used primarily by the police to aid eyewitnesses in recalling information more accurately. It is based on Tulving's beliefs that several retrieval paths exist to memory recall, and information not accessible by one path may be available using varying methods of recall. Context reinstatement is when a person mentally recreates an image of the situation, including environmental and personal details and the person's emotional state of the event. For example, a person may recall the time of day, weather, sights, sounds, who they were with, or feelings and thoughts. These details act as a trigger cue to help a person recall more information based on the principle of retrieval failure cue-dependent forgetting. Report everything is when a person recalls every single detail they can remember from the event, even those that may seem trivial, irrelevant, unimportant, or details that the witness isn't confident on. For example, what the offender witnesses were wearing. These details can act as triggers for other memories and help a person recall more important information or highlight something that has been overlooked. Recall from changed perspective is when a person mentally recreates the situation from a different point of view and recalls the event from someone else's perspective. For example, they might consider what the offender or another witness saw. This is done to disrupt the effect of expectations and schemas on recall and promote a more holistic view which may enhance recall. Recall in reverse order is when a person recalls the events in reverse chronological order to the original sequence. For example, from the end to the beginning. This is done to prevent a person reporting their expectations of how the event must have happened rather than the actual events, therefore improving accuracy. It also prevents dishonesty, as it's harder for people to produce a dishonest account if they have to reverse it. The features of the cognitive interview focus on social interaction, reducing anxiety and distractions, slowing speech, using open-ended questions to facilitate recall, avoiding leading questions, offering comments to help clarify witness statements, and allowing witnesses to take their time in their recall. A strength of the cognitive interview is that there is research to support its effectiveness. The effectiveness of the cognitive interview can be shown in comparison to the standard interview by looking at the amount of correct information recalled. A meta-analysis by Cohn-Ken et al., 1999, combined the data from 50 studies. The enhanced cognitive interview consistently provided more correct information and increased recall and correct information by approximately 82% compared to the standard police interview used by police. This is a strength because it suggests that the cognitive interview is useful and has real-world applications, especially in the world of law enforcement, where the police can use this to glean more information from witnesses that may prove crucial to solving crimes and reduce miscarriages of justice. However, Cohn-Ken et al., 1999, also found that 61% of the information gained through the cognitive interview was either incorrect and inaccurate information. This is a limitation because it suggests that information gained from the cognitive interview has a high chance of being inaccurate and therefore unreliable, which jeopardizes the appropriateness of the cognitive interview and further suggests that the police need to treat all information collected with caution. However, Cohn-Ken et al., 1999, study lacks population validity as the majority of the participants involved in the meta-analysis were college students, who are not representative of the wider age range within society, e.g. senior citizens. The study therefore also lacks internal validity, with age being a confounding variable, as other research has found that age affects memory and recall, Park et al., 2002, Raz et al., 2005. This is a limitation because it suggests that the study may not be accurately measuring the effectiveness of the cognitive interview but instead how one interview technique affects a certain age range of people. A psychologist was at a concert where someone threw a bottle onto the stage and seriously injured one of the band members. The psychologist decided to use this incident to investigate the accuracy of eyewitness testimony. She asked 10 people who saw the bottle being thrown if they would allow her to interview them about this. A week later, she interviewed each witness separately in a quiet room and asked them the same closed questions about what they had seen. She recorded their answers. It took her 2.5 hours in total to interview the 10 witnesses. Question 5. Calculate how many hours it would have taken the psychologist to interview all 1,000 people who were at the event. Show your workings. 2 marks. 1,000 divided by 10 times 2.5 is equal to 250 hours. Question 6. Identify one type of data the psychologist collected in this study. Explain your answer. 2 marks. Primary data, because the results came directly from the eyewitnesses and because the data was collected by the psychologist specifically for the purpose of the investigation. Question 7. Investigator effects may influence this study. Explain how the investigation might be modified to reduce these effects. 2 marks. The investigation might be modified to reduce investigator effects, but having an interviewer who had not witnessed the event and did not know the aims of the study so that they would not be affected by their own perception of the event. Question 8. The psychologist submitted a report of her investigation to a journal for peer review. What would she expect the process to involve? 2 marks. The process would involve her report being sent for independent scrutiny, checked, reviewed, by other psychologists. They would consider the validity, ethics, errors, significance, originality, and possible improvements to see whether it should be published. Thank you for watching. If you have enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more content like this. Bye.